Hey guys, so I want to do a pedalboard rundown today. This is using the Iridium, and then also to kind of show the Mastermind PBC 6X from RJM Music Technology. Just want to go through my workflow and the signal chain, just to give an idea of the process behind Sunday mornings, building set lists, how I manage presets and so forth, and then using MIDI. So, quick info about the board itself. It's 24 by 12. Custom board from Creation Music Company. I had a ATA case from Blackbird Pedalboards, so that's why I had to get a custom length. I think their stock boards are like 24 by 12 and a half. Then I used SP400s for they're the square plugs. I used that for pretty much all my cables. For the insert, where it's the doing the TRS to TS cables, I used the SP550S and then the SP400s. Most of the cables were Mogami. I reused some of the cables. Some of them were Evidence Audio, and then BTPA. And then all the cables I soldered myself. I did a bulk order from BTPA, got all my square plugs from them, and then cables as well. So I highly recommend if you have time to learn how to solder. I think you probably save more money just buying bulk stuff and then building the cables out yourself. So first things first, we'll just start with the signal chain, and then I'll talk about how RJM, the PBC 6X, how that is integrated. So I'm using Fender Original Strat 50s. It has pure vintage pickups in it. The first thing in the chain is the StroboStomp Peterson tuner. As you can see, the screen is huge, so you can see it from a mile away. I like it. It's super accurate. From the tuner goes to the Cali 76 stacked edition, and it's got two compressors in it, and this thing sounds awesome. And then from Cali 76, then we go into the PBC 6X. So let's check it out real quick. And I don't know if you guys can see the labels. So one really cool thing about the PBC 6X is the loop reordering. So on the screen itself, it goes 1, 4, 2, 3, plus, which stands for the insert loop, 5, and 6. So it really didn't matter how I wired up the board. I could use a PBC 6X to reorder it. So number 1 in the signal chain is the POG, Nano POG. Then number 4, loop 4, that is the Screamer Fuzz. By Cusack Music. And then loop number 2 is the Belle Starr from Jackson Audio. Number 3 is the Broken Arrow. And then the plus sign is the insert loop, and that's where I have the Dunlop mini volume plugged in there. 5 is the Julia, and then 6 is the Thermae. And as I said, going through the numbers, I reordered it. POG is first in the chain, and then the Screamer Fuzz. I did that. I was messing with it a couple times, and I just noticed tone differences when I had Screamer Fuzz later in the chain versus first in the overdrive chain. So I intentionally did that. A couple other things about the insert loop. So with the PBC 6X, you could actually run 4-cable method, and you could run stereo in, stereo out. A couple other things with loops 4, 5, and 6, you can also change that to stereo, or you can do split mono. So split mono meaning I could run 2 mono pedals from 1 loop. So technically you could have up to 11 pedals in your chain using the PBC 6X. So all those guys are in the PBC 6X, and then coming stereo out goes into the Specular Tempus. Reason why I have 2 of them, you can do delay and reverb. They have a couple different effects that you can do both, but I wanted to do one separate, one dedicated to delay, one dedicated to reverb. So stereo out from the PBC 6X to the Specular Tempus, and then stereo out to the second Specular Tempus. So you can see here, this one is dedicated delay, this one's for reverb, and then stereo out, again using an insert cable into the Iridium, and then stereo out of the Iridium into the Dyson Plus for on pinstripe pedals, and then into my interface, and then into Logic Pro. So that's signal chain in a nutshell. Now when it comes to the PBC 6X, And this thing is it's powerful. Anything you can conjure up, you can build together. So the most powerful thing about it is what you can do with the buttons. For example, I could send program changes, control change messages to any MIDI capable devices. What I do it mainly for is to increase reverb, delay mix, decay time, and I'll enable certain loops. So depending on parts of the song, I'll have different drive pedals engaged, and sometimes I'll have stuff on the fly that I can engage. So I'll go through that real quick. So first page on the PBC6X is your main presets page. So the way I have it organized is by song parts. So button 1 would be intro, verse, chorus. Button 2 would be chorus. 3 would be hook or lead. And then 4 would be swells. And then the 2 yellow buttons are for the POG and the Julia. I have those on demand. Most of the songs don't require to have that on. There are a couple songs where I like to have with Julia or POG engaged right off the bat. Most of the time I just have it on the fly. So for example, here's just a intro verse patch I made, and I don't know if you can see it on the screen. So I have the Belle Starr engaged, and then the volume is always engaged. And if you look to the top left for the specular Tempus, you can see each time I hit the button, depending on the song part, I can send a program change number to change the reverb setting. So for example, I've got a 70s plate patch. I've kind of got like a mid mix decay time, and then delay I just keep it pretty much the same. So here's what it sounds like real quick. That's going to engage the broken arrow, and then you can see that I changed the reverb preset. So this one has a longer decay time, bigger mix. So here's what it sounds like. Here's hook. This one engages screamer fuzz, and then the reverbs pretty much stay the same. I just liked how the mix felt in that. So screamer fuzz kind of has more of a mid boost. It also has a fuzz on it too, but I just like the kind of the drive and a little bit of fuzz, and then I turn the tone knob up on it. So if I switch back, here's just the broken arrow. And then screamer fuzz. So going back to these 2 yellow buttons, so I have the POG and Julia that I can turn on. So when I'm playing like a lead, and if I want to just fatten up the sound, I'll throw the POG on. So here's the lead sound. And then here's Julia. So a lot of options you can do. Let's go to a different. Actually, let's go back to. So here's the swells. So this is just pretty much ambient stuff. So in this one, I have Thermae and Belle Starr engaged. Reverb Specular Tempus, I got a different preset. So it's still 70s plate, but I have it higher mix, longer decay, and again, just the way I organize it. So from like 1, 2, 3, 4, my reverbs kind of increase with decay and mix, and that's how I organize my presets. All right, so moving forward, we'll go into the PBC. So I have this, I think it's Analog Endeavor's 2-button switch that'll let me bank up and bank down through the presets. So on the actual PBC, there's a bunch of different pages you can set up. So this is kind of like a quick access page, and I just color coded it so I know which ones I can do. I was using the stomp for a while, so this one takes me to the HX stomp, and then I have different buttons that may take me to the looper. I'm trying to remember what else. Engaging different amps and a couple other things. Let's see. Yeah, that was the looper. Okay, so I'm just trying to remember because now I just really don't have to use that much in terms of MIDI. And then I was using Kemper for the longest time, so I had 2 pages set up where I can engage the auxiliary effects on the Kemper itself. And then here's the one for the Tempus. So the first one, button 1, that's for the delay Tempus, and button 2 is reverb Tempus. And then I also set up a dedicated button for tap tempo just in case I need it. And then tuner. I mean, I just customized all these buttons, and then some of these are just dedicated to take me to certain pages. So this one will take me back to the first page. This will take me to the loops. And I'll get into that in a second. So I hit this one, and I could basically, if you look on the middle left, I'm just basically banking up and banking down. And then button 1 would select patch A, button B would, or button 2 would select patch B. So this is more just on the fly if I wanted to. When I'm playing live, I really don't have to use it, because I've got everything built out. Okay, so in terms of workflow, I build all my presets out, song specific, as I mentioned before, and then I pretty much pick out which reverb patches I want to use. One thing about the Tempus, if you switch the algorithm, you're going to get a hard cut, for example. So reverb, for example, let's do reverb. So here's plate swells. Set list out, I usually just stick with one reverb. I really like the plate reverb on the Tempus. I've been using that a lot. But other than that, Tempus, it sounds awesome. I mean, it's got so many. I think you can have up to 32 presets on it. So for both of these units, I built out 32 presets for reverb, delay, just to give me a bunch of options. So let's go to what the different sounds are real quick. So back to my quick page, I have another dedicated button just for live mode. And this basically, I just want to, if I want to pick different overdrive pedals, I can do that on the fly. So right now, this is, I reorder it. So this is from, I guess I would say higher gain, lower gain to higher gain drive pedals. And then I still left Julie and POG here. I used to run the Tempus in the PBC 6X, but I can just, tap on and off here without having to mess with the PBC 6X. So let's go back. Let's do chain real quick. So this is clean sound, and I'm running the chime setting on the Iridium, the greenback on the left, and ProSonic on the right. So this is without Cali 76. Let's turn the reverb off. And here's with Cali 76 on. So it adds a little bit of boost, compression, just fattens up the sound. Alright, so Cali 76 usually stays on for me the whole time. So, and next pedal, Belle Starr is usually always on too. I just set it up to have it kind of like a edge of breakup tone. So here's Belle Starr. So I have the tone knob about 12 o'clock, a little less than 12, and then the body close to 1. Gain is kind of low-ish, but if I crank it up, let's see here. So it's like a small amp, like an overdrive amp. It sounds awesome. So here's the gain knob all the way up. And it's also super responsive to your pick attack. So here's just a couple different variations. That's where I have it set at. And then with the Iridium, with the chime setting, I have it set to around 10 o'clock with the drive level middle. Then EQ pretty much just straight up the middle. Alright, so the next one is a Broken Arrow. And this has, I think, like 4 different overdrives using the amber setting. And that's kind of like a Marshall-esque sound. So here's what it sounds like. So I'll use that a lot for chorus stuff. I mean, it cuts through. And a lot of times, I have like 2 different lead sounds I like to use. The Belle Starr and the Broken Arrow stacked together. So the Broken Arrow also has a boost. I really don't need to use that. Gain is set to between, I would say, almost a little at 2 o'clock. And then I turn middle to about 11. bass and treble are set to 1 o'clock, just to EQ it a little bit. But Belle, Starr, and Broken Arrow stacked together sound awesome. Broken Arrow just on its own sounds awesome. Alright, so next one is the Screamer Fuzz Germanium. It's got 3 clipping diodes, and I just set it to the middle. Fuzz is barely there. Drive, I have it pretty much cranked. And then tone, almost cranked all the way, but it just adds a little more mids to the lead sound. So here's Screamer Fuzz. Once in a while, I actually stack it with the Belle Starr. Just very rare if I just wanted it to just cut through everything. So here's with both. Most of the time, I'll just use a Screamer Fuzz. Use that a lot for lead and hook. And then some of the songs, like Greater Things, I'll have Julia and Screamer Fuzz. And then some of the elevation songs, I'll use POG, Belle Starr, and Broken Arrow stacked together. Some of the lead lines, just to fatten up the lead tone. So next one, this is POG. Again, this is actually the very first in the chain, and it's number 1 on the screen if you can see it. Again, I just use that to fatten up lead sounds. So here's Screamer Fuzz and POG. And here's POG, Belle Starr, and Broken Arrow. Alright, so next one is Julia and so I have my depth knob set at 3 o'clock, lag all the way maxed out, and then I got a little bit of vibrato with the chorus, and then I've got the rate turned down. So it's I just really like that the midnight kind of vibes, Band Camino. So here's Broken Arrow and Julia. And here's Julia, Broken Arrow, Belle Starr. So that's the drive section, POG and Julia, and then Thermae, I use that on the swells. So I set it to a quarter note delay, and then on the Tempus, I have it to a dotted eighth delay. So if we go back, let's do this one, and I'll turn off the Tempus delay. Alright, so with both delays on, so I have it to echo dotted, so it's got a little bit of reverb to it, and delay set to dotted eighth, and then using in conjunction with the Thermae. So it just really fills out the sound. And then with the plate reverb, and I've got the mix pretty high and the decay pretty high. And then I'm going to throw the POG on real quick. Sounds really good. So real quick, I was talking about controlling the MIDI devices. So I have a MIDI box underneath the 2-button switch that controls the Thermae. Let's actually stick with this. Okay. And Thermae, I forget how many presets you can store, but basically you just send the program change number after you have your settings on the Thermae. Send the program change number and it saves it. So I just got 3 presets, or 2 technically, and then 1 live mode. So if you look at the Thermae, you can see the button color change. And then the middle button LED off, that means I'm in live mode. So here's just one of the presets I've been messing with. You can get some funky sounds with this. I just keep it on live mode. The settings I have, I really like right now, and then I have it set to the quarter note delay. So, funny story, I usually got the Thermae on for the swell patches, so every once in a while, I'll just get that weird kind of pitch shift going on. And I mean, you can hear it in the house. It happens every once in a while. I haven't figured it out if it's something with the MIDI, but no biggie. I can just turn it off. So next, let's see. And just in terms of workflow, kind of how again, building presets, I do it song-specific presets, build it into sections. And then one of the places I play at where the transitions go pretty quick, so using a switcher like the PBC 6X is just perfect. So once I'm done with the song, just bank up to the next one, boom, engage whichever drive pedals, and then PBC 6X also has a MIDI clock. I like that, so I don't have to worry about doing tap or anything. It sends all that information, so I'm ready to go for the next song. And another feature I really love about the PBC 6X, and then with the editor, there is a local pages feature, and it's basically a preset within a preset. So this actually cut down a lot of the pages that I have to cycle through. So right now I think I have 7 pages. So here's the preset page, my quick access. Yeah, I think like 7 pages altogether. But again, it's a preset within a preset. So for example, here's an ambient preset that is set up. So it basically engages different reverb presets on the Tempus, and then on the other, for the other Tempus delay, also have some reverb presets. So let's do the shimmer one. So if you saw the top left corner, it switched to shimmer reverb. And then if I engage any of these buttons 1 through 4, it'll switch to another reverb preset on the delay Tempus. So I'll usually use this at the end of the set if we're just doing pads or swells. So here's what it sounds like. This one was my favorite, the tremble, this tremolo kind of style. So I'll do that after our last song, and then the way I have it set up, I keep the BPM for this preset the same with the previous song. So for example, I think this is a move, this song, and then this ambient preset, I keep the same BPM just for transition wise. So that's pretty much it. I could spend a whole another hour or so just explaining functions about the PBC 6X. It's a powerful unit, but Iridium sounds amazing. It takes pedals like super well. It's probably my most favorite piece of gear right now. And then the specular Tempus, reverbs, and delays, those just sound awesome. So yeah, any questions, please let me know. Again, thanks for watching this, and just stay safe, stay healthy. I know a lot of stuff is going on right now, but just praying for you guys. And again, any questions, let me know. Thanks.